Hey everyone, welcome back to bageltcg. I'm excited to start with the first deck tech of the Dusk Till Dawn season with Bolton here, who is not a hero I've done a deck tech with in quite a long time. I'm honestly not sure if I've ever done a deck tech with Bolton, but he's a really fun hero. I've played him at Armory a few times in the past when he wasn't as strong, and I still had a good time, and I'm super excited for him to get the buffs he has now and be able to be at least a B tier hero or hopefully even better. So I have my Bolton deck I'm going to show off today. I also have a budget version that's going to be able to get the deck for you for very cheap. Bolton is one of the best competitive budget heroes. You can get the deck for under $150 and easily be able to win any armory that you're at with enough practice. So super excited to hop into the video today. Bolton has always been at his strongest with the Lumina Sabers combo, right? So that is using the Centauri Sabers. These are the one-handed weapons. They cost 1 to attack for 2, but you're able to combo and make them free by using Courage of Bladehold. This is a majestic chess piece that when you destroy it, your sword attacks cost 1 resource less, right? So now instead of costing 1, they cost 1 less, so they're costing 0. And if you're able to attack with them multiple times, you can attack with them over and over, all for free. That stays for the whole turn. So you're trying to set up this big combo turn where you're attacking for 30 plus damage with your Centauri Sabers. And we're able to do that by buffing them through various ways like Gallantry Gold, a really powerful common arm piece that we use. It blocks for 1 early with Battle Worn, and then on the turn you want a combo, you pay 1 resource and it makes all of your weapon attacks plus 1 this turn. And then we use the key card of the combo, Lumina Ascension. This is Bolton's specialization. It costs 0, and it says until end of turn, weapons you control gain plus 1, and if this hits, reveal the top card of your deck. If it's a light card, put it into your hero's soul and gain 1 life. Otherwise, put it on the bottom. And if you've charged this turn, you may attack an additional time with each weapon you control. So you really want to get the full benefit of this, so you're going to have to charge at the beginning of the combo turn. That's something you always have to do, and it's what we save these Snapdragon Scalers for. You use this on your combo card to give it go again, and then your Sabers will, by themselves, have go again the whole turn because of Bolton's hero ability, which is the bottom text here. Attack reaction and banish a card from your soul, and then target attack with power greater than its base gets go again. And your swords will be buffed a lot. Their power is going to be greater than their base. And every time they hit, you'll be able to get a new card into your soul to keep giving go again over and over, right? Remember, when the card hits, you reveal the top card of your deck. If it's a light card, it goes into your soul and you gain a life. So because you're putting a new card into your soul every time you hit, you can keep banishing them to give the swords go again over and over. And for every Lumina you play, you're going to be able to attack an additional time with each weapon, right? So starting out, without any Luminas, you get to attack once with each weapon, so 2 total attacks. The first Lumina lets you attack twice with each weapon, so 4 attacks. And then usually, with the combo, you're almost always trying to get at least 2 Luminas. That's the minimum you want, is 2 Luminas, which lets you attack 3 times with each sword for a total of 6 total attacks. Now, each sword is getting plus 2 from the Luminas because you play 2 Luminas, and then an extra plus 1 from your Gallantry Gold. So each sword is getting plus 3. So if you're doing plus 3, that's 5 damage on each sword, and they're each attacking 3 times, so you're attacking for 5 times 6, so 30 damage minimum that turn. This can be even higher because you're getting the benefit from Centauri Saber often, which says if it's defended by an attack action, it gets plus 1 until end of turn, so they get buffed, and that stays for the whole turn. And from Bolton's hero ability, which says if you've charged this turn, your attacks get plus 1 when defended by an attack action. So if your opponent has to start blocking, which they will if they don't want to die, your weapons are going to get buffed even higher because they're often going to block with attack actions, which are going to trigger Bolton and Centauri Saber. So really powerful. You get all those effects. Plus, you get the damage from whatever card you charge. Usually, that's not a ton. It's like 3 or 4 damage from most of your charged cards, attack for 3 or 4, but that's an extra 3 or 4. So usually, by the time everything's over and you've attacked with your charge card and your weapons with all the buffs, you're going to attack for about 40 damage on the combo turn. So your opponent's whole life total. Plus, you're also gaining life. Don't forget you're gaining life every time they hit when you put that card into your soul. So it's 40 damage or so, plus you're gaining like 15 life, 10 to 15 life. So you're swinging the life totals by almost 50 life on the combo turn. Now, it sounds very powerful. It is very powerful, right? I'm not trying to say it's not powerful, but it's not easy to make this happen. You first of all need to find 2 specific cards. You need 2 Lumina Ascensions. You need to also have usually about 3 cards in your soul, because not every hit from Lumina is going to get a light card. You're going to miss sometimes. Also, you're not going to hit with all of them. Your opponent's going to have to block some of them, and then it won't hit. So you need a buffer of life. You need about 3, on the safe side, 4 cards in your soul to make sure you can get all of your sword attacks in, and make sure you get all 6 of those attacks in. If you can get all 3 Luminas, you're getting even more damage. Obviously, you get 2 extra attacks plus an extra damage on all those attacks. So you're getting 8 attacks for 6 each. So you're dealing like 48 damage right there. So way more damage. But often you don't have enough life total to be able to do that, right? It's usually going to take almost the whole game to get to the combo. Often you're going to be almost dead by the time you get to the combo. If you can do it earlier, the earlier you can do 2 Luminas, the better. If you can be greedy and get to the 3rd Lumina, that's awesome. But you have to get at least the 2 Luminas usually. So there's a few ways we're going to do that. You're going to usually arsenal the first one, and if your opponent ever attacks with anything that threatens your arsenal, you basically have to block it because you can't lose your Luminas. So the main combo is arsenaling a Lumina and then setting up and waiting until you find your 2nd Lumina, right? So step 1, arsenal the first Lumina you find. Step 2, put a bunch of cards into your soul so you can have 3 or 4 cards in your soul. And step 3 is to find the 2nd Lumina and then do the full combo. You find the 2nd Lumina. Most of your hands should hopefully have a card that charges in them, so you can draw that 2nd Lumina with the card that charges and then do the full combo from there. That is the real goal with the deck here. We have a lot of ways to be defensive up until that point. So we're playing lots of defense reactions with Sink Below and Fate Foreseen. We're also playing Soul Shield, which is a great defense reaction that also goes to our soul after you block with it. And then we're playing mostly 3 blocks. Almost all of our deck blocks for 3. And so we're just trying to block for 3, sometimes throw 1 good attack. Like Illuminate is a very powerful attack. It's 4 damage for 0 resources, which is a good rate. And if it hits, it goes to your soul. So that's something you want to do as well. So, 1 attack a turn if you can get it, and then block with the rest of your cards. So, for example, attack with Command and Conquer, pitching a yellow, and then block for 6 or 7 with your other 2 cards. And we're playing kind of defensive up until we do the combo, and then the tables turn. We do the combo, we do a ton of damage, and then you have to kill your opponent from there. A lot of the times you're not going to have a lot of deck left because you remember you're putting a bunch of cards into your soul as you do the Lumina combo, and you're going to run out of deck pretty fast. So you really have to set up and kill your opponent after. That's where cards like Celestial Cataclysm come in. Because you put a bunch of cards in your soul from the combo, you'll often have the 3 to use Cataclysm. Stuff like V of the Vanguard to finish them off. This is like a mini combo turn using your sabers. Bolting Blade can be a 0 cost for 7 damage. Really, you're trying to use these final cards to finish them off. The other main way you're going to find Lumina Ascensions is through Beacon of Victory. This is a card that costs 0. You banish X cards from your soul. It can't be 0, so you have to banish at least 1 card. And then your attack that you're targeting with this reaction gets +1. And if you've charged, you search your deck for an action with cost X or less and put it into your hand. So Lumina is an action that costs less than 1. So on the turn that you need a combo, if you happen to draw a beacon instead of Lumina, it's still fine. For that cost of 1 soul, you can search for that Lumina and put it into your hand. So you do kind of have 6 copies of Lumina, at least in terms of finding them, which makes it a lot easier to get there. And you even can get free action points and have less soul if you have the Spirit of Irina. We have this new Fable also from Dusk Till Dawn, which lets us put cards into our soul a little bit faster. And then we do have the bannerets that give us some extra power while we're charging throughout the game. But honestly, the the core Saber game plan doesn't change too much from Dusk Till Dawn. This is still the strongest thing Bolton can be doing, and it really is going to pretty often beat any of the aggressive decks. Aggressive decks have a big problem getting through this combo. It's able to block really well, and then on the turn you combo, you gain, a good 10 life, and deal a ton of damage. So you play this combo into basically any aggro deck, and it's going to do you pretty good. The problem with this combo is beating decks that aren't aggro. Decks that aren't aggro, for example, like Dromai and Bravo, this is just not going to deal enough damage to kill them. They're going to be able to block for 15 or more on your combo turn. So you're only going to deal 15 damage. You really wanted to have 3 Luminas, and often you can't do that. And you're just not going to be able to kill them, then you're going to run out of cards. So against aggro, it's good because aggro doesn't block very well, and you're able to deal enough pressure on the combo turn to really swing the game into your favor. Against anything that's not aggro, Bolton has always had a little bit of trouble. It's not his favorite place to be. He's always had some struggle into anything that's not aggro. And so hopefully the new sideboard package that I'm going to show you here from Dusk Till Dawn is going to change that. So the 2 cards that are important for this in our sideboard is Beaming Blade. This is the new weapon from Dusk Till Dawn. It costs 2 resources to attack with it, and if a yellow card has been put into your soul this turn, it gets +5. So it's usually attacking for 0, obviously, but if you've had a yellow card put into your soul, it is 2 resources for 5 damage, which is great. 2 resources for 5 damage is really good. And we can boost that even further with Iron Song Versus. So this is the new arm piece from Dusk Till Dawn, and it says, for 1 resource, your next sword attack this turn gets, when this hits, create a courage token, which of course is the token that gives your next weapon or attack action +1 when you play it. So it kind of gives it +1 damage on hit to your sword. So it costs 3 resources to do this total, right? Which is pretty expensive for a deck that is all yellows, all yellows here for all these actions. But we're able to figure that out with this great library of Solana here. I don't think we can turn it sideways, but we can see the text like this. So this is the Fable from Monarch here, and it's able to give us that extra yellow every turn to pitch for the sword. And that makes it so we're basically getting 5 free damage every turn. It says it says at the beginning of each end phase, if a hero has 2 or more cards with yellow color strips in their pitch zone, they gain +1 intellect until end of turn, meaning you draw an extra card. So if you've pitched 2 yellows, you get to draw 5 cards at the end of your turn. So basically that yellow on the Beaming Blade will recycle itself and give you an extra free card. And that second yellow will go towards Iron Song Versus, plus anything 1 cost. So we have quite a few 1 costs. We've got the Take Flights here. We've got the Resounding Courage. We've got V of the Vanguard. We've got a few 1 costs, but we don't have to use that resource. If we're playing against a deck like Icelander, that resource is probably going to go towards paying for a Frostbite anyways. But basically, Library plus Beaming Blade is 5 free damage every turn, which will be enough value to grind out any of those control decks that we're worried about not being able to combo. We say, goodbye combo, don't need you anymore. I'm just going to attack for 5 free damage with an on-hit every single turn. And you might be saying, that sounds great, but Great Library of Solana is a single card, and it's the only way you do this combo. How are you supposed to find that 1 card out of 60? Well, I'm happy to tell you, it is an action card. It's a light action landmark, which means you can actually search for it with Beacon of Victory. It costs 2, so you have to banish 2 cards from your soul with Beacon of Victory, but that gives you 3 extra ways to find your Great Library of Solana, meaning you have 4 ways in your deck, so you should see it within the first 15 cards statistically, right? If you have 4 cards out of 60, that's 1 in every 15 cards will be able to find you this. So your first 4 hands, you should be able to find it. So you might have a first, week 3 turns, but on the 4th turn, you should be able to find the library and play it out. In which case, from then on, you'll be a lot stronger and hopefully be able to finish off and grind out the control deck from there with your powerful combo. Of course, they can destroy it by discarding 2 yellows. A lot of decks don't have 2 yellows, especially at the same time, to be able to destroy it, so you shouldn't be worried about that too often. But we do play a Remembrance just in case. You're definitely going to want to put this Remembrance in with the Great Library, and it's your kind of backup. If they destroy the Great Library, you can use Remembrance to put it back into your deck. It's also, obviously you get to put 2 other cards, so often those cards can be View of the Vanguard or Lumina Ascension, which are great options to put back in your deck. Lumina Ascension is still really powerful with Beaming Blade. It lets you attack, for 6 twice in a turn if you just play 1 Lumina, which is quite strong already. So I think this should be enough extra power now to be able to beat the control decks. Bolton was never really worried about the aggro decks. The Sabers combo is just so strong into those aggro decks. The only real worry was those control decks, and I really think it's honestly quite fun. I really enjoy playing the Beaming Blade Ironsong versus Library combo. You can try, if you really just want to have a fun time, it's really fun to do. You could try it into aggro as well and just not even worry about the Sabers combo. I will say you're going to lose a lot. You don't usually have those first free, 4 turns is really fast in an aggro game. And in a control game, 4 turns is quite a slow time. You'll be able to find the library easy. But against a Lexi or a Phi or a Runeblade, you might be half dead by 4 turns in. So you don't usually have time for it. You probably want to be on the Sabers combo instead. But it's really fun to do. I really recommend it. Ironsong Versus is one of the strongest cards from Dusk Till Dawn. It's a very, very, very strong card. I don't think anything is going to beat Levia Redeemed for best card. That card's insane. But I think Ironsong Versus is one of the best cards from Dusk Till Dawn, and it'll continue to see play in most warrior decks. Kind of giving your weapon an on-hit is super good, and it blocks for 3 anyways, so it's fantastic. Obviously, if you haven't noticed, this deck is $760. It's running 2 Fabled. It's running Light of Soul and Great Library of Solana. You don't need Light of Soul, but you obviously do really need Great Library of Solana. It's also running a Legendary here. It's running a Legendary and Spirit of Irina. And so it can be a slightly expensive deck, but the Sabers combo by itself is very budget friendly. For $130, you can get the full Sabers combo. You really don't need Light of Soul. You don't need Great Library. You don't need Ironsong Versus anymore either because you're not playing that combo. So I don't even think this deck has any legendaries at this point. Yeah, I mean, you don't need legendaries, and this is a fully competitive deck. This will beat all of the aggro decks. The problem is, obviously, you lose the Beaming Blade combo with Great Library. You can't afford, if you're trying to be on a budget, you can't buy a Fabled and a Legendary to be able to pull that off. So you do lose your game plan into the control decks, right? So this can win an Armory. It's probably going to lose if you play a control deck, but if your Armory is a lot of Runeblades and Ninjas and Rangers, Lexi specifically, it's a lot of aggressive stuff. You'll be able to win a lot of your Armories in events with this really cheap combo version of Bolton. Just hopefully you don't have to play anything control, because without that Beaming Blade sideboard, it's going to be a lot harder to pull off. But if you want to start somewhere, you can totally start with this. You can tell it's almost the same deck. It's missing, the Command and Conquers, and it's missing the Fabled and Legendary here from the main deck, and then it's missing the Fabled and Legendary from the sideboard here. So it's missing 2 Legendaries, 2 Fabled, and 3 Command and Conquer. But otherwise, it's pretty much the same thing. So it's not a lot of cards different, frankly. But those cards just end up being pretty expensive. But I think the deck's really fun. The sideboard plan we got from Dusk Till Dawn is super cool. And if you have any questions or comments, please let me know down below. I really appreciate you watching. Let me know what hero you want a deck tech from next, and I'll see you guys next time.